Today's video will probably be a short one too. I'm going to paint the backing plates and the gas tank straps, seeing we're going to have some crummy weather coming in and it's nice out, sunny, beautiful morning. So I think that it'll be good to do a little painting so that paint can dry, so I can reassemble the car when I get the rest painted up. And then after I get them painted, I'll work on the gas door pocket thing. Alright, I'm going to mix up some paint here and paint those backing plates and stuff. And I got a little bit of this left, so I'll use this, and then what I don't have enough of, I got a brand new quart, so I guess when this, when this goes empty, it's empty. I think mix 8 parts paint, 3 parts reducer, 1 part hardener, and that's probably going to be enough paint. So I'm got enough in the quart can, and that one. For painting parts, I just use what I have. For painting car bodies, I use all the good stuff. A little bit more reducer there, good enough. I like to paint a little thicker too when I paint parts. Not thin it as much, but to where it'll still spray good with the gun. I like to put a little smoothie in for the parts in case there's oil or anything on the parts. It prevents fish eyes. It also helps metallic flow. You need very, very little of this. And then this is the hardener. This was stuff I got in an estate sale. This stuff goes bad over time, but it was still liquid and it was free. And I've been using it on all the parts, and this stuff's very expensive too. So yeah, if I can get it for free, I'll definitely use it until it's gone. Once this goes in the paint, you can't put the paint back in the can. It'll turn to like a jello. And I always, let me get a towel. I always wipe the tops off. That way the lid doesn't get glued on from when that stuff goes hard on the outside of the can. And I snug the lid up good. And I store these things in a cool, dark place, usually the basement. And they last for years if you keep them sealed and stored properly. So this paint is pretty much all ready to put in the gun and spray. Give it a little stir. Yeah, when I'm painting non-metallics and just parts like this, I just kind of mix it to my liking, not really too concerned about getting it exactly right every time. But when you paint metallics and body color, you gotta be consistent and mix it all the same, otherwise you get different shades. I'll just leave that stick there. It's probably more than enough to paint what I'm going to paint. That's how much paint is in the little cup here. And that will be, like I say, more than enough. And I use this gun as just a standard, regular, everyday old, it's a Badger Model 400 door jamb gun. I love this little gun. And I always use a specific air hose just for painting, because you get moisture in your air hoses from doing other things with them. So I have one that I just run with the lower pressures through all my dryers just for painting. Okay, it's cold out and I put my mask on because there isn't a lot of wind. And I'm going to give these things all a nice shot of paint. Came out pretty good. I've clacked my head on these about a dozen times. Not fun. Looks pretty good. I have a little bit right there I gotta get. Next. Need to make shorter wires. And the last item. That looks a little bit better than it did before I took them off the car, don't you think? Yeah, I mean, you don't even see these things. They'll look fine. Now the fun of cleaning the spray gun. Fortunately, this is a real easy little gun to clean. That's one of the reasons why I really like this gun. I take it all apart and just clean it in a pan of lacquer thinner. Clean gun's important if you want them to work properly. I already sprayed just plain lacquer thinner through it after I dumped out what was left of the paint. This is what was left of the paint plus the lacquer thinner I put in the cup and shook, and then I put more lacquer thinner in and sprayed it through, and then I put fresh lacquer thinner in the pan where I clean all the little bits and pieces. You can see over here I got U-joints. I got the brake hose, which doesn't come with this bracket. And that bracket's like pinned on to this old brake hose thing. And this one, new one, it's kind of Mickey Mouse. It's screws on. But I guess it'll work. It saves the cost of reproducing, I guess. The thinner from cleaning the gun I save, and then I can use that like for wiping things down, like on the undercarriage, the axle housing, stuff like that. The really nasty stuff I don't save, but that was still fairly clean lacquer thinner, and that will work good for just wiping nasty things down, you know, saves the cost of buying more lacquer thinner. The spray gun's pretty easy to put together. First thing I do is I put the packing back in. This has a little bevel that has to face the gun. It's harder to do this with gloves on than off, putting the gun together. It's hard to get in there and hold things. Then the spray tip. This determines how far you can push this. You can adjust it, so if you don't want a heavy spray, you can turn this up and then it doesn't push as far. I just let it push all the way, and then I can always regulate it just by how far I squeeze the trigger. I push the trigger when I'm putting this on. Just give this a light snug. It doesn't need to be reefed down. This goes on over that. It's a pretty simple little spray gun. I really like it. Oops, it's upside down. There we go, and I'll put some thinner in it and just run some plain brand new clean thinner through it and call it clean. Clearing a spot out in the trunk so I can get to the back side of that, so when I weld it up, if I start that coating on fire, I can put it out. But these are the nuts that hold the trim on, and you can see this spatter paint just comes off in sheets. So I'll scrape all this stuff off and paint the inside of the trunk and down in here before I paint the exterior of the body. And I'll clean all this up and make it look nice and pretty. And I'm going to paint it with probably black acrylic enamel, and then I'm going to spray it with the spatter paint over it. The black acrylic enamel this stuff allows moisture through it, and it'll rust through the spatter paint. That's why this is all the way it is. So yeah, that's not gonna, I'll have to get in there and sand all that and clean it all up, and same here. But like I say, I'll repaint the inside of the trunk before I paint the body of the car. And who knows, I might, if I have enough leftover paint from painting the body color in the jambs and under everything and in the fenders, I have a gallon just for that. I'll paint the inside of the trunk body color and then spackle over that. Can't get my head down in there to see. It looks like there's a drain hole or hole there. I can see in the viewfinder, but I can't see by sticking my head in. I just can't get my head in there far enough unless I climb in the trunk, and I don't feel like doing that. There's where we're gonna work on repairing some rust today. It's all in pretty good, pretty nice shape. Look at the top up in there. Yeah, it's not bad at all. You can see where they didn't paint and where they did paint. Yeah, I think I'll spray the inside of the trunk with body color first, and then put the speckle on the floor like it was. Still got the original trunk mat in here. In getting this molding off, I got all the screws undone, except there's a screw right here. So the bumper, either I got to get some little screwdriver in there, or the bumper needs to come off to get that off. And I'm going to be taking the bumper off today or tomorrow anyway. And I don't need to get this trim off right this second, so I'll just leave it until I get the bumper off. Well, there we be. The trim is off. It looks like there's a little pinhole right there, right here, and that was a hole there that you saw from inside the trunk. So probably replace this bottom little bit of the quarter panel here, just because, you know, I mean, if it's starting to pop here and I don't repair it here and it pops here, I'll be upset. So I don't know, we'll see. I'll get in there and clean it out and then we'll go from there. But it's really, considering the age of the car, I don't think you can complain too much. And I'll clean all the trim up and repaint the black in it. And see those little clips that hold it on. Where that screw went. That was back there. I used my little, I used this little ratcheting screwdriver to get in there. That hole, you know, it goes from way over in here all the way over into here. Pretty much all the whole bottom from, see there's a joint right here. From there out, the full width there is rotted out. So I'm going to make a panel that'll fit in there. But I have a feeling I'm not going to fit it through this opening. And I could probably fit it up through the trunk. But it would be easier. I'm going to make the panel from sitting here. I'm just going to sit on my stool and I got my pattern making stuff out. And I'm going to make a cardboard pattern that fits that hole perfect. You know, where it's rotted out. And then I'm going to make the piece out of sheet metal. And then I'm going to trace where I need to cut it out. And then I'll weld the new piece in. It's going to take, may take, you know, quite a bit of time. You know, something like this is probably going to take me, you know, 3-4 hours of steady work. And, you know, I'll probably take lunch and fool around with some other things, so it'll probably take me today and tomorrow before I have this done. But let's get the putzing with it. The first thing I do is go around with my screwdriver and kind of see where it's really bad, you know, where I gotta cut to, like it pokes through. I just kind of like to know what I gotta do, so I just go in there and really rip around. It goes through. See how that's really solid? There's a hole right there, but this is all solid around there, so I'm just going to weld that hole in. But there's a hole here, and there's a couple little pinholes I can see just around in here, so I'm going to make the joint right, probably just above where that screw hole is, maybe about here. Come across to that joint, down along this joint, and up, right up this side, and across, and maybe up here, kind of like that. So that, you know, essentially everything you see that's brown surface rusted is going to get replaced, with the exception of everything from here up. I can weld that little hole, and I went in the trunk and looked, and everything's solid on the back side. So this rusted from this side out, and that was just a little wee pinhole, and I got in there with the screwdriver and twisted it around, made the hole bigger, but that's all solid around there, and I can easily tack that hole in. So I'm not going to be able to video making my panel because the camera's between me and what I'm working on right now, so I'm just going to putz around here and make a cardboard template so I can make it out of metal, and we'll get it cut out and welded in. And I'll video a little as I go here and there. I made the piece out of cardboard, and I used some tape where I wanted a little more sheet metal and kind of round in there too, and there, and up to the top there, so that it covers all that rust out in there. I'm just going to cut it all out. So I'll make that out of sheet metal. So I traced my cardboard template out onto some sheet metal, and now I'm going to cut that out and start working it into the gas filler. Yeah, and I got the gas tank back today too, so I had to run and get that and talk to the guy for a while. So I don't know if I'm going to get the pocket fixed today or not. I'll probably finish it tomorrow. This is the side of the tank that you see, and I don't know if I should paint it or not. It actually doesn't look too bad. I'm undecided if I want to paint it or not. I'm forming the metal now. I cut it into two pieces because I couldn't fit it in the opening hole, but I got to bend a lot, fold it around a lot more in here. So I'm just gonna pound away at it. Got all my body hammers out and just kind of tapping away at it and forming it. I got that piece pretty much all fit, and I'm gonna make the piece for over. Well, I made the piece. I just got to form it, and I'm not worried about the hole right now. I'll take my Dremel and grind that nice, so it's perfectly round and fits the neck, and re-drill the screw holes and everything after it's all welded in. But yeah, that kind of fits in there pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to fit the piece over here, and then I'm going to call it a day. That's a pretty good fit. Good enough for now. I'm going to trace around the sheet metal, cut the old rusty metal out with the plasma cutter, and then I'm going to weld that in. I'm going to do all that tomorrow. So hopefully I can get at it tomorrow. We're supposed to run a winter storm warning. I think we're supposed to get a ton of snow, but it'll be a good day to come out here and work in the garage. So my goal is to finish that up tomorrow. Well, I'm calling it a day. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see this beautiful old car all restored and on the road, subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching my video.